Hello, my name's Mrs Warriner and I'm Head of History at St Ivo Academy, and I'd like to welcome you to our short presentation for Open Evening for students considering A-level history. I hope you find it informative, and if you do have any questions you'll find my email address at the end of the presentation. Many thanks for taking the time to watch.
So yes, welcome everybody to our A-level history presentation. So first of all, an introduction to our A-level team. There's myself, Mrs Warriner, and I lead on the British history side. And I have Mr Thomas and Dr Craig, our Vice Principal and previous Head of History, who teach that side of the course alongside me. On the European side, the team are led by Mrs Eleanor, who's a long-standing member of staff in the History Department at St Ivo. We also have Mrs Withers and Miss Jennings. So there's a very broad team of specialist historians who deliver the A-level history course. So just to look now at an overview of the 4 modules. In Year 12 you'll study 2 modules. That will be British political history from the 1700s to the 1850s, and you'll also look at the Cold War in Europe, so some overlap there with what you've learnt for GCSE history. In Year 13, you'll look at the history of Britain and Ireland over a 130-year period. And you'll also do a piece of history coursework, more on that later, and that's submitted in the spring of Year 13. A-level history is what we call a linear course, so all of the exams will be sat in the summer series of Year 13. So that's 3 exams plus your piece of coursework to give you your final A-level grade. So now to talk in a little bit more detail about each of those 4 modules that I've mentioned in the overview. You'll study British political history in Year 12. So this is Britain in the Age of Revolution. So as the French Revolution is happening just across the Channel, that brings with it a range of challenges that successive British Prime Ministers have to deal with. And your job as a historian of this period is to examine and judge how well they dealt with those challenges. You'll also look at Britain in the Industrial Revolution and the challenges that that brings. So things like poverty, working conditions, and a rise of interest in radical politics. The course is examined with essay-style answers and also analysis of some primary sources, and that exam is worth 25% of your final A-level grade. So also in Year 12, you will study the history of the Cold War. So some familiarity here for those of you that have studied GCSE at St Ivo, but you'll go into greater depth than you do at GCSE about a lot of the developments, particularly developments in politics in Eastern Europe. So for example, you'll look at Ostpolitik in East Germany. This course also is examined by essay-style answers, and it's worth 15% of your final A-level grade. And now going into the modules that you'll study at Year 13, this synoptic module covers a really broad period of time, 130 years. And the story here is looking at how Ireland came to be partitioned in 1921 into the Irish Free State, which are the southern provinces, and Northern Ireland as we know it today. So you'll look at the rise of Irish nationalism, series of rebellions, and the beginnings of the IRA. And down the bottom there, that chap shouting is Michael Collins, who some of you may have heard of. And this course is examined again with essay-style answers, but also an analysis of interpretations of Irish history. And this is worth 40% of your final A-level grade. The final module that I'll talk about, again, done in Year 13, is a piece of coursework. We're aiming for 4,000 words. You have a choice of which question you'd like to do, but it needs to be based on the topic of the Cold War. So you work very independently on this. You set your own question, carry out your research, and do your writing up. Your teacher will act more like a tutor, so you'll be scheduled in to have one-to-one meetings, and they'll discuss with you your note-taking, research, conclusions you may be drawing, and ideas you have for the final piece, and they'll be there every step of the way to guide you as you write it up. That's submitted in the spring of Year 13 and is worth 20% of your final A-level grade. So now I've talked to you a little bit about the content of our course. I just want to go through some of the reasons why we think that it's a great idea to study history at St Ivo. Of course I would say that. So as I said before, we've got a broad team of specialist historians who can deliver the A-level course. We think that gives us a strength in numbers. Our results have been really fantastic year on year. We usually average about 90% of our students at A-level achieving grade C or above, and that's in a fairly large cohort. In a usual year, we'll have 3 classes in each year in sixth form. And as you'd expect from us, we're highly organised. So you'll get a course booklet with past papers, model answers, you'll get your own textbook, you'll get access to our Schoology course, you'll get a booklet with independent learning tasks so that you can maximise your study periods that you have in school. We'll provide a revision programme for you, and those of us who know us will know we will go the extra mile to help you when you require it. And to enrich the course, we also offer trips. So in normal years, we have offered a trip to Dublin and a trip to Berlin. So that's one of those per year. They normally happen in the November, and they are open to all students in year 12 and year 13 who are studying history. So thanks for taking the time to listen. You can see my email address there on the screen, and you can also find that on the school website. So if you've got any further questions about studying A-level history, please do feel free to get in contact with me. I love to hear from people that are interested in history. And thank you once again for taking the time to listen.